Hello friends, welcome back to my channel 365 IT Pros. In today's video, we are going to create a generative AI bot or a copilot on IT knowledge management article stored in SharePoint using Microsoft Copilot Studio. And we're further going to integrate it with ServiceNow to create a ticket in case if user is not happy or satisfied with the generative response generated by Copilot. I have already created another video to integrate SharePoint data and generative response previously. So we'll not spend more time on that. You can find link to that video in description, and we'll focus more on integration with ServiceNow and logic to call it when user is not happy with generative response. Alright, I'm into my Copilot Studio environment and I have already created a bot or a pilot called KM Pilot. This is the IT knowledge management bot which generates generative AI-based responses from our files which are stored in SharePoint Online and OneDrive. Let's deep dive into this particular Copilot. Here I'm using conversational boosting topic to generate AI-based response using files stored in SharePoint. You see, I'm using this topic as a fallback option. You can refer my another video to know more about how to integrate SharePoint Online files into Power Virtual Agent or Copilot Studio to generate AI-based responses. When I'm using this as a fallback option, Copilot users, whenever they ask question, Copilot checks for any matching topic in a list of given topics. And if Copilot doesn't have any topic to use for an answer, it uses the conversational boosting topic to generate response based on the file stored in URL. I've also created a topic called ServiceNow Create Incident. Now this is a topic I've created using ServiceNow connectors. You can also create plugin action for ServiceNow to perform same operation. Plugin actions are used by Copilot to respond to users automatically using generative actions, or you can also call them explicitly from within the topic. For this particular demo, I've created a new topic on my own using ServiceNow connector. Now let me quickly walk you through the flow of topics before we deep dive into ServiceNow specific topic. As I said previously, I'm using fallback options which gets triggered when there is no matching topic. In this fallback topic, I'm calling conversational boosting topic which generates AI-based response based on user query. When there is a response, I'm calling end of conversation topic. So once the response is generated and message is sent back to user, I'm calling end of conversation topic. In this topic, I'm further asking user whether their query was resolved and they are happy with the response from a generative AI. If they say yes, I'm further going and asking their feedback on response using rating control. But if they say no, I'm asking them if they would like to create a new ticket. Based on that response, I'm taking further action and calling a topic to create ServiceNow ticket. So here is a topic which I'm calling to create a ServiceNow ticket. Now let's look at what's happening inside this topic. So here the trigger for this topic is these phrases like ticket, incident, create request, create ticket. Once this topic is triggered, I'm asking for two parameters to user: the email ID they are using in ServiceNow, as well as short description of an issue they are facing, which they want to highlight to IT support team. You can skip the step of asking email address from user, and you can also pass logged in user email ID if it's already available in ServiceNow instance. I'm using this information to generate a incident in ServiceNow. I need this minimum information to create an incident in ServiceNow, which will be used here. So email address will be used to set caller ID. Urgency will be used to set urgency of an incident. For time being, I am passing value 3, and short description is the user issue which they would like to resolve. In the next step, I am calling a ServiceNow connector to create a record of type incident. Along with that, I am passing additional information which I have captured before. Let's quickly look at this information. So here in caller ID, I am passing ServiceNow email, which I have stored in a variable called ServiceNow email. Along with that, I am also passing short description, which I got from user, and urgency. Once I send this information to ServiceNow, it creates a record for me and returns the result in a JSON format, which I am storing in a variable called create record. Further, I am passing this variable to generate an JSON object which I can browse and access properties to generate a message for user. Here I am accessing various properties of JSON object like ServiceNow response.number, ServiceNow response.urgency, and there are many other properties which are available as a part of this particular JSON object. Another thing which I want to highlight here is at this particular step, when we are creating a record in ServiceNow, we can also configure a message which we want to show to user while the record is being created. You can use this option called latency message, and then you can show this message to user while the record is being created. It will appear once during the text message, and it will continue to play in loop during the voice conversation. Now let's go and quickly create, or I would say recreate, this particular topic to get the better understanding about this topic. So we'll go to create new topic from blank. For time being, I'm not going to pass any phrases, but I'll quickly show you how you can call an action to create a record in ServiceNow. So we are going to click on call action connector, and then we are going to search for ServiceNow connector. Once we have the ServiceNow connector available, we are going to select an action that we want to perform. In this case, I'm going to create a new record. It will try to create a new connection with ServiceNow. Remember, these are the same connectors which are available in your Power Automate and Power Apps environment. So if you already have connections created with ServiceNow, You can reuse the connection. If not, it will ask you to create a new connection using your ServiceNow credentials that you got while registering developer instance. Once connection is created, we are going to submit to create a step or action to generate a new incident. It will take few minutes to create the connection and complete this step. Okay, so the ServiceNow connection is created, and now our step is ready to configure to create an incident. Now in a record type, since we are going to create incident, I'm going to type it incident, and I will select incident from the list. Based on the record type, it is going to further ask me for all sort of fields and parameters required to create an incident. Many of these are non-mandatory and we can skip for this demo. As I mentioned before, for caller ID, we are passing email ID from user message, but you can also use logged in user email ID from system. Once you have populated all the required parameters and fields, the output of this particular step will be stored in a variable called create record. Now we are going to pass this particular create record variable to generate a JSON object which we can use to read different properties. We are going to parse create record.result. Now under data type, we are going to select from sample data. Now when you run your Copilot, you can check the output of this variable and copy the JSON to give the sample data to Copilot. I have already copied the sample JSON, so I will quickly paste it here. This is a sample JSON. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to store this output in a new variable. We will rename this variable to ServiceNow response to, and we'll limit this variable to this particular topic. Now once the properties are available in this variable, we can respond back to user with a message. Incident, and then we are going to add the values from ServiceNow response to. So you see all different properties are now available: .active, .approval history. There are tons of properties to look around. We'll simply go and check ServiceNow incident number with urgency. Again, we are going to select property from variable. We're going to select ServiceNow 2 urgency is created. That's it. This particular topic is ready to create a new incident in ServiceNow when user is not happy with a response from generative AI. As I said before, you can also configure legacy message to show a message to user while the action is being carried out. I'm going to save this topic. I'll go to topics. For the timing, I will keep this topic off. All right. And we'll continue with the topic which I already created. So now let's look at the implementation and see how it works. So I'm going to ask my bot with some greeting message. Need to reset password. There is a typo in password, but that's the beauty of AI. It understands your intent, the language, the grammar. So I have a generative response based on document which are stored in SharePoint site. It has used this particular knowledge article to generate an AI-based response. You can see reference to those files here. Now I'm going to turn on the tracking to understand what happens from here. Now it asks me, did that answer your question? Now this is the question in end of conversation topic. So I'll say no. Now you can follow along on right side, but it's going to show how it moves from one step to another step in topic. So when I say no, it's now asking me that we like to open a ticket. So it's here in this step. I'll say yes. It will go into the yes loop, and it is going to ask me to enter your email in ServiceNow. For time being, I'm going to select one of the user email from ServiceNow users. In enterprise solution, your enterprise users email ID will be already available in ServiceNow. So you can always pass the logged in user email ID. All right, I'm not able to copy this. Perfect. Yeah, it's abraham.lincoln@example.com. Now it's going to ask me another question to describe the issue that I would like to get resolved. So it's going to ask me, please describe your issue in few lines. I'm going to say cannot reset password due to my password asking for admin crash. Whatever, I'm just making up some issue and I'm going to submit. Now when I'm submitting this request, it is going to show me a latency message on the screen, while in background it's creating a ServiceNow incident. It has already created a ticket with ID ending with 20 with urgency 3. If I go back to my ServiceNow instance, if I refresh, you see this is the incident that got created based on the description that we provided in a text message. Based on email ID, it selected the user into the caller field and urgency 3. If you look at the variables, you will see a JSON response which was stored in variable called create record. From here, you can copy a sample JSON response and give it to parse value step to parse the JSON string into JSON object. If you look at the JSON object variable called ServiceNow ServiceNow response, you will see all different properties, same as original JSON variable. We can further extend this Copilot into Microsoft Teams by sharing this particular Copilot into Teams channel. You can go to channels and select Microsoft Teams. Okay, it has created bot in my Microsoft team. So I'm going to open a bot and we'll use the web version of the team for this demo. And it will be available in your team chat window. I will say open. It has pinned the bot in my team. I'm going to say hello. You can see the notification from the Teams. Here is the message. I'll say clear browser cache. Let's do that. It's going to generate a response from a document or a knowledge article in SharePoint. Probably we can also add a latency message while it's generating a response. Now here is the response which is generated from a document which is in SharePoint Online. Alright, so that's it. You can try this on your Copilot Studio environment and share your comments. Let me know if you have any query. You can drop and comment, and I will try to respond to your comment as soon as possible. Thank you for watching this video. Please like to my channel, subscribe to my channel, and share with others.